Hello there. Welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. That's Randy Buehler, and I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. And wow, super exciting stuff down the stretch here as we wind down the Swiss portion. We've got Jiachen Tao versus Kentaro Yamamoto ready to go in the feature match area for round 15. Let's head down. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler. I've also got an Ian Duke making his way into the booth here as well. And we are excited to bring you round 15 coverage here from Atlanta. In our main feature match here, we have Jiachen Tao, a player that we've been watching for most of the tournament here. He's playing one of the breakout decks. It's a version of the Eldrazi deck. This one is a blue-red. He's from Team East-West Ball. On the other side of the table, we've got Kentaro Yamamoto. You will certainly recognize him if you watch much Pro Tour coverage at all from Japan. He's on Through the Breach, and both of these players are on 11-3. So, Randy, what are the implications tournament-wise for these players? The winner should be able to draw in next round. The loser is probably out, can try to win and hope for tiebreakers. It looks like 12-4 is going to let one or two people in. First big news, by the way, Luis Scott Vargas got paired down. So Luis Scott Vargas did not get the handshake he needed to clinch top 8. It was instead Shuhei Nakamura shaking hands with Ivan Floch. They're in. Luis, like I said, his odds are still well up in the high 90s%, but he did get paired down. If he loses, he has to hope he doesn't get paired down again. And then he has to hope his tiebreakers hold up. But he's playing this round in our feature match area. Okay, so we'll be keeping an eye on that match as we move forward. But here we go. We've got an Eldrazi Mimic. And here is a Jace Vryn's Prodigy here for Kentaro Yamamoto.
Look at the turn 0 Gemstone Caverns, too.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, Jace discarding Grizzlebrand. We haven't really seen a lot of this deck on camera. It's the Goryo's Vengeance Through the Breach archetype, but they splashed blue. Kenji Samura had some success with this before the Pro Tour. I saw the list there. Yuya's playing this as well. The idea is that you use blue spells like Jace and like Izzet Charm to discard those fatties to sort of set up your Goryo's Vengeance and Through the Breach shenanigans. It's a little bit slower than the the Grishol brand version of the combo deck. The Grishol brand is like, well, I'm just going to reanimate Grizzlebrand as soon as I possibly can, and go off that way. This one, it's a little more slow, but it's a lot more resilient and gives you some ability to interact with the opponent. Oh my God, sounds like Luis is playing against Affinity and already has 2 copies of Chalice of the Void in play.
He's got 1 on 0 and 1 on 2. That is incredibly crippling for the Affinity deck. So
and that's game 1, so now he gets to go to his sideboard. Affinity's supposed to win game 1.
That's correct.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a Lightning Bolt now.
Sounds like, all right, it sounds like it's not over. There's a Steel Overseer and a Master of Ethereum in play.
It might just be too late.
Meanwhile, Kentaro Yamamoto.
He's going to exile a Simian Spirit Guide, and he is going to Izzet Charm. And it looks like that's going to be a 2-2 endless one now for Jiachen Tao as he starts to rebuild his board. In the meantime, Yamamoto has gotten to the point where Jace Vryn's Prodigy can transform here into the Planeswalker side. Yamamoto drew Emrakul. He's going to discard a Simian Spirit Guide and transform Jace here. And he's just going to plus Jace, target that at the endless one, and pass the turn back with just 1 card in hand. Well, that 1 card costs 15. So back to Jiachen Tao, who's now has to figure out how to apply some pressure here to Yamamoto. He's found it. It's a Vile Aggregate. Not a ton of pressure, but it's something. Land off the top for Yamamoto. Yamamoto's considering if he wants to plus Jace. He could also minus it for the Is It charm here. He's just going to plus, play a land, and pass. So not a lot going on in the middle part of our game here. Innocent Eldrazi Sky Spawner now for Tao. And so all of a sudden this Vile Aggregate is starting to get bigger and bigger. Right now it's a 4/5 with Trample.
4 damage.
And you know what? JC's just going to attack Yamamoto here. He's going to ignore Jace.
Yep.
14? Yes.
Yamamoto falls to 14 in this exchange. And he's going to exile an Emrakul. He's probably pretty happy to see that one go away. Serum Vision's off the top for Yamamoto. Couple of cards left for JC Tao. JC was undefeated overnight. This is his 3rd Pro Tour. But he's played a bunch recently. His other 2 came within the last 3 or 4 Pro Tours, so relatively new to the scene.
Wow, he hasn't lost in Constructed all weekend, has he?
No.
He 3-3'd the draft, and now he's 11-3.
I mean, they broke it, man. This blue-red Eldrazi deck might be the best of the bunch. The deck went 19-1 with the players that played it, Ian, in day 1.
Astonishing.
That's
like unheard of.
Like in modern.
Yeah.
Like the most diverse field, Pro Tour field you can get.
Yeah, keep in mind a win rate of like 65, 70% is awesome on the Pro Tour, right? So when you're talking upwards 80, 90 plus, it's crazy.
The sample size isn't gigantic, but add in today and it definitely adds up. And JC is one of the guys primarily responsible for designing it as well. We saw him do a deck tech earlier today with Brian David Marshall. He and Ben Whites are primarily responsible for the design for Team East West Bowl.
Looks like Patrick Dickman has taken game 1 from Luis Scott Vargas.
Wow, through those chalices.
Indeed.
He
Affinity
snuck.
did it.
Wow.
He must have already had enough of a board state going.
Yeah, it sounded like he got a Steel Overseer under before the Chalice 2 and had a Master of Ethereum that obviously wasn't vulnerable to those chalices. So Luis down a game.
And again, JC Tao continues to just add to his board here.
1, 2, 5, 11, 14.
It's 14. That is a lethal attack right
Ruination guy has
From
done
a
some
Ruination
serious
guy.
work.
Yamamoto's double checking the math, but I think we're going to see game 1 go to JC Tao. Yeah, the math checks out. JC swings for 14 damage that turn to take game 1 in our main feature match here in round 15. Super impressive stuff. That deck is very powerful. We'll be back right after these messages.
Take the Oath. Retake the world. Oath of the Gatewatch is now available on Magic Online. Explore the new set by signing up for Magic Online at mtgo.com. In the art of Magic the Gathering Zendikar, you can experience the danger and beauty of Zendikar like never before. This lavishly illustrated hardcover book features the award-winning art of Magic the Gathering and gives you an insider's look at the secrets of Zendikar, its peoples, continents, and creatures. On sale now.
Welcome back to the feature match here in Atlanta. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler and Ian Duke. We're going to jump over and take a look at what Magnus Lanto, our Magic Online champion, he's playing Death Shadow aggro. He's up against Paul Cheon on Affinity. Now, this is one of the interesting little sub-stories here is that Cheon somehow didn't end up on this awesome deck that Luis is playing and everybody else because he was actually at home testing because Cheon's wife Well, it looks like 4 copies of Teamer Battle Rage in hand for Magnus
Yeah, that did not
Lanto,
help
and that
survive
wasn't
that
good
assault.
enough. So Paul Jian attacks for the win. Thanks, Paul.
Now,
Anyway,
to be
Paul's
clear,
about to have another child, so that's why he wasn't able to go on site, and so he decided to take a deck that he could practice himself on Magic Online out ahead of time with, which was Affinity.
yeah, he actually made a super cool play the first round of Constructed. He sat down and he just randomly had teammates running the Eldrazi deck on either side of him. Had a mulligan, had a terrible draw. His opponent had a really good first turn. He just scooped. Did not let his opponent know he was on Affinity, and the opponent is looking at Paul's, teammates on either side of him and sideboarding as if Paul was on Eldrazi.
And
Paul just crushed
wrecked
him game
in
2.
the second
Yeah.
game. Yeah, he ended up losing the 3rd game there, but still
Still
a
a cool
great
story.
story. Yeah, totally.
Paul,
All right.
by the way, on 4 losses, so he's hoping for a tiebreaker mise into the top 8. He does not control his own destiny.
Would you call it a miracle, or is it
At
like
this point, it would be a miracle. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to give a sense for Paul Jian fans at home of where he's at.
I have his odds are
very low.
yes.
Okay, but still super solid finish in line here for Paul if he can win out here. So we're
Yeah,
going to
we
jump
may
in
not
on
get
Frank.
any X4s in the top 8 the way this shakes out, depending on how the there's a boat because Luis got paired down. So if Patrick Dickman defeats Luis, then Luis is in the scrum at X3 looking for a draw. Andrew Brown also got paired down. So if he wins, there won't actually be any Magic next round. There will just be a clean cut to 8 after 15 rounds.
I could go for Magic.
All right, so we're back here on Frank Lepore versus Pascal Maynard. And, yeah, this looks like it's game 1 here still. Now, Lepore is on 11-3 as well as Pascal Maynard. Lepore's lost his last 2 matches here. But he's in a fine position here if he can take down Pascal Maynard.
Yeah,
Remember,
this one is clean. Win and in. Winners should get to draw next round. The only scary part is if there's an odd number of people and you get paired down. That's the only scary part.
oh no, Frank Lepore's at 1 life again. Do you think he was traumatized by last round? Does he fear the gut shot here?
It is what, his 3rd consecutive win and in?
Indeed. Of note here that Pascal has not played a land, apparently. There's no lands. One of the really crazy things about this Affinity deck is how little mana it needs, and oftentimes that mana doesn't even come from actual lands. Can Frank stabilize here? It's looking very tough for him.
Yeah, I think almost certainly not, right? His deck is basically all permanents, all creatures.
Yeah, I mean, he could find something like a Drowner of Hope. The problem is that Pascal actually has access to double black for that cranial plating, and that does, in fact, do it. So, Pascal Maynard picks up a game here against Frank Lepore, and they're going to consult their sideboards. Let's go back to our main match here, where we've got Kentaro Yamamoto and Jiachen Tao doing battle with JC really impressively. This deck, I can't get over it, Ian. I keep looking at these cards and feeling like they're underpowered for Modern, and then they just keep smashing so hard. Like that one, he attacked for 14 that turn.
It's hard to argue with 8 and 0.
Yeah, I'm done arguing with it. I think this deck's awesome.
JC has not lost in Modern. That's a crazy stat at this point.
JC told me that he tested with East West Bowl, specifically with Ben Whites. He really learned a lot from him, and they kind of grounded out.
Both on top? One top. Okay.
That was a Serum Visions resolving there for Kentaro, and he put one of them on top. It was a land. Take a look at Yamamoto's hand. These always look funny.
19.
He's got an 8 drop, a 15 drop. And he's got some nice stuff here. The Simian Spirit Guide can allow him to power out that Through the Breach a turn early.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good, honestly. I mean, on turn 4, he can just Simian Spirit Guide Through the Breach Emrakul, unless there's a Thought-Knot Seer. He should be in pretty decent shape here, I think.
Good. 16. Yes.
So Relic of Progenitus here for JC is going to take off one angle of attack here from Kentaro. The Goryo's Vengeance side of things, at least temporarily, will be shut down.
Right. But he's got a Through the Breach hand.
Yeah, he's got a Through the Breach hand, so he's going to have to be happy about that. All right, I do have a match update. Patrick Dickmann from Germany, 11-3 coming into the round with Affinity, just defeated Luis Scott Vargas, who was on 12-2. And now they're both 12-3 heading into the last round.
So they're both hoping to draw next round.
Patrick Dickmann, huh? We've called him a modern master.
We
I think
have.
a lot of people were saying, well, yeah, but he built all these different versions of Splinter Twin.
And then you've got the, is there really such a thing as a modern master?
Yeah, and apparently there is, because Patrick is now in top 8 contention again, and he's on Affinity, totally different
Should
deck.
be in.
Yeah.
I mean, all the X3s, worst case scenario, one of them gets paired down, where a loss would send it to tiebreakers. That's where, if you end this round 12-3, then you just don't want to be the guy who's paired down. And even if you are paired down, you can back in on tiebreakers with a loss.
15. Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Remember that Valencia where Christian Seibald top-8'd with Affinity and Patrick top-8'd with Splinter Twin? Seibald was playing Dickmann's like actual physical cards. Dickmann was like, I've got 2 decks. Here, you can have my Affinity deck. I'm going to run Twin. And then they both top-8'd.
Yeah, Dickmann designed that deck. I'm telling you, this guy knows Modern.
So getting a look at Tao's hand here, we have a really, really important inclusion in his hand, Stubborn Denial.
Oh, wow.
So that sort of puts the kibosh on the wait till turn 4 and Through the Breach plan.
God, what are the chances that Yamamoto plays around Force Spike here?
Yeah, there's no
not
4-power
high.
creature.
I think I would just go for it if I was Yamamoto regardless.
I would too.
I would too.
The question is Tao going to make sure to hold up that blue mana the entire game?
I mean, currently
You hold it up on the
it's
turn
for
where he's
a
about
turn. Yeah.
Right. The turn where he's about to get to 5, I think
Well,
you hold it up.
the thing is he has a Simian Spirit Guide in his hand, right? So that turn is this turn, this next turn that's about to happen,
This
right?
is going to be a
And the
big
tricky
turn.
thing is Tao has 3 Eldrazi in his hand, but they all cost colored mana, and he has no additional colored source. So he has the Eye of Ugin there, but he'll have to tap that land if he wants to continue adding pressure to the board.
Yeah, 14. 13. Yeah, 14. 14. Okay.
Land for Kentaro Yamamoto. Is he going to go for it? To be fair, he's not under much pressure here, just a 2-1.
But this is what the deck does.
Yes, there it is.
Oh
Simian
my
Spirit Guide, and he's
God.
going for Through the Breach. JC Tao calmly
Oh, the
fires
Force
off
Spike.
Stubborn Denial. And that is a massive play for how this is going to pan out. Because look, JC still has that relic, and right now Yamamoto's hand is double Emrakul Faithless Looting.
Cards.
I agree with you guys. I like going for it there. There's no way, that you're going to play around something like that in game 1, but that was savage.
We already had a gut shot to all but clinch top 8. Why not a Force Spike while we're at it? Oh, he cycles the relic.
Tao's going to cycle the relic. It looks like he wants to get some action going here.
Does I mean he got a Griselbrand too.
Attack for 2, drop you to 12.
Yeah, land here would be huge for Tao. That Eye of Ugin would let him play multiple 3. Like every colored land he has can play a 3-mana creature with Eye of Ugin in play.
Jeez, pretty tough there for Yamamoto. Just ripped Goryo's Vengeance.
You've got to be kidding.
Nope.
He cycled the relic.
He now has 2 in his hand.
He cycled the relic, and now
Whoa.
he gets to go Faithless Looting into Goryo's Vengeance.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
With that trigger on the stack, he's going for it.
How many permanents does JC Tao have?
Exactly 6, so his whole board's going to be gone, but he is at 19.
You think you've got Eldrazi? Meet Mama Eldrazi.
Wow. What a draw for Yamamoto.
Is this the 4th flavor of Eldrazi deck that could make top 8?
Okay, well,
Wow.
let's start all over again.
I bet JC Tao is regretting the cycle on that Relic of Progenitus. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can see what he was thinking, but it definitely has not worked out.
Now, interestingly, he's at 4 life, and Yamamoto does still have to find a way to finish him off here. Remember his faithless looting.
Oh, he just drew another Goryo's Vengeance.
He had the other one in his hand, but he just drew Is It Charm to get Grizzlebrand in and Goryo's Vengeance off. Wow, Kentaro Yamamoto. That Stubborn Denial, I thought it was going to break his back, and instead he just used the next 2 turns to do 17.
So they're going to game 3.
And we're moving on with that one.
Yeah, you know what? The Relic turns out, if he had sat on the Relic, he would have countered the first Emrakul, essentially.
Yep.
And then the second one would have still gotten him. I mean, he would have been at 4 with no permanence anyway.
All right, let's jump over to table. See, this is like once again Magnus, Lanto, and Paul Cheon.
Yeah, Paul is among the higher tiebreakers on X4 right now. So he's not mathematically eliminated. He's hoping that if he wins this and wins the next one, he's hoping some 12 and 4s will get in and that he can have his tiebreakers move up ahead of the X3s that lose.
Always double check when I say something.
Can you imagine Paul and Luis in the same top 8 of the Pro Tour?
I can imagine that.
That would be fun.
That would be fun for them. I'll tell you what, that's a memory they would never forget.
They made the same top 8 at U.S. Nationals way back when the 2 of them really burst onto the scene more or less together. It was Cheon that was winning U.S. Nationals. Luis was just part of the Cheon entourage.
Aren't we all?
Gotta think one more time. This is obviously a very important turn.
You said it, Paul.
Death Shadow's an 8-8 right now.
16, 18, 16, 14, 15, 16.
So Paul's running the numbers here on, can I die from this position?
Yeah, Teamer Battle Rage usually means yes.
Usually it does. Okay, Lanto just, or excuse me, Paul Cheon just chump blocks with the Ornithopter. Lanto says, yeah, sure. Go. So Cheon just takes 1 damage in that exchange, but does lose an Ornithopter. Can Cheon finish off from here? I think he can. I think he's got all the tools he needs in his hand here. He's got a Galvanic Blast.
Yeah, I think he's just thinking about whether he wants to activate a Blinkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, he's got 3 artifacts currently, and he can have up to 5 here.
Like, clearly his goal this turn is to get Magnus to 4 for the Galvanic Blast, if he does indeed have it. But, yeah, he's just thinking through, could there be some combination of Lightning Bolts or other
You know what he could be worried about? The card Magnus Lanto actually has in his hand is Lightning Helix.
So Cheon doesn't want to leave himself dead to some crackback miracle in case, well, in case of a Lightning Helix.
And it's also...
we're gonna go ahead and hold our main match. You can see that they're on turn 1 up there, but there it is, Lightning Helix.
What did
from
he target?
Magnus Lanto. Unclear. Felt like he was targeting Paul by the way he held
the
it up.
gesture I
didn't it?
saw.
Yeah, but he could have also verbalized it and just not heard it.
But I mean, yeah, it is Paul.
Wow. Okay.
I think a lot of that is Paul can't fizzle it by having a creature die, right? Lanto's gonna gain the life. There's no way for Paul to remove himself as a target.
Okay, well that should delay Paul for a turn here. And maybe give Lanto another rip at Temur Battle Rage. So down to 6 for Lanto. Again, this does set up a win next turn for Jiachen. And he
But
will
he has
still
to
have a
survive
chump
the
block.
next turn.
Yes, but he still has a chump blocker with that Blinkmoth Nexus, but oh, there's a Temur Battle Rage in hand.
Wow. Temur Battle Rage on Death Shadow is a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's 14, I think, on the Death Shadow, plus 2 from the Swift Spear.
Yeah, currently a 7/7 Death Shadow.
And the only blocker is just that Blinkmoth? Paul's going to activate, and he's going to chump block again. He says this worked last time, but not this time. And there's Temur Battle Rage. Is this lethal?
2.
Well, it's going to force
Galvanic Blast,
Galvanic Blast on the Swift Spear, yeah.
Survive at 1.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he takes 13 trample damage.
Very awkward for Lanto here.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. On the one hand, the Lightning Helix,
Like, saved his life.
it shrunk his Death
But
Shadow,
It also means he can't win this turn.
but it means he didn't die to Galvanic Blast.
That's right. God, this is a close game. My goodness. Yeah, Paul, you got to do it. Galvanic Blast to not die this turn. I do 13 to you, he says. This is not over yet. There are a lot of draws for Jiachen. I'm sure if he can find a cranial plating.
He's going to slow roll himself.
Of course he is.
Draws the card face down to the back of his hand and squeezes it out. What is it?
It's a Galvanic Blast off the top. Wow, he squeezed it and
Unbelievable.
found it, and Paul Jiachen wins the match.
Touchdown, Jiachen. Unbelievable.
Okay, well, that means we can jump back up to our main table. Wow. They are bringing the dramatics this weekend, no doubt about it. Sometimes it's
again.
gut shot, sometimes it's Galvanic Blast. Pick your flavor, but we've got dramatics here. All right, so that puts us on Game 3 here on Jiachen Tao versus Kentaro Yamamoto, and we are underway. Very strong start here. A turn 2, 4/4 Endless One. And a Faithless Looting now for Yamamoto. Yamamoto's deciding what to discard to Faithless Looting.
Hey, this game is basically for a top 8 spot. 12-3, you should get to draw. Even if you get paired down, your tiebreakers have a decent chance of getting you through with a loss next round. By the way, the guy who is most likely by far to get in at X4 if he winds up there, Frank Lepore.
Because he had a run. I mean, he was top of the standings for
He was
a
11 and
long
1.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, by far the best breakers. Now, The only way that works, though, Frank Laporte needs there to be room in the top 8 for 112 and 4. So there's a pair-down match happening outside the feature match area, which is huge in terms of whether 12-4 can actually make this top 8 or whether everyone is guaranteed to get an opponent who can shake their hand.
So in our feature match here, it looks like Yamamoto thought seizes Tao, reveals only a Reality Smasher, I think that was?
Yes, that is Reality Smasher.
And just a bunch of lands beyond that. So even though Tao has the turn 2, 4/4, that's all he's got so far.
Nice little clock, but it does seem like Yamamoto might have some wiggle room here.
Mm-hmm.
Another Faithless Looting, it looks like, for Kentaro. Graveyard's getting nice and full here for Yamamoto, and he keeps playing lands as well. JC's going to crack his Scalding Tarn on end step and try to find some action here. Doesn't need much.
Yeah, I mean, he really
Thoughtseize was pretty big, huh?
Yeah, the Thoughtseize was huge. Thought Not Seer would be the perfect draw here. We do know that Yamamoto, starting next turn, will be able to Through the Breach. He doesn't have anything to Through the Breach yet, but means every draw step is live.
He's also got multiple Faithless Looting in the graveyard. Tick-tock. Well, it looks like it's just going to be the Endless One attacking this turn. And there it is.
Wow.
Thought Not Seer, you called it.
Perfect draw.
And the truth of the matter here is that Yamamoto has plenty of tools and is likely to find what he needs. It's just the clock has shrunk to 1 turn. I mean, he's at 8. He's facing down 8 power. Is there anything he can do at this point? Wow, that Thought Not Seer was huge.
Yeah, I mean, Yamamoto can flashback a Faithless Looting and dig deeper, but I don't know what he would be digging to at this point.
Doesn't seem to have the removal suite to take care of big 4/4s like this. You know, Lightning Bolts and Is It Charms don't get it done.
I guess he has 4 lands in play if he hits exactly a legendary creature and Goryo's Vengeance. Does that do it for him? You can...
Well,
no, it doesn't even because he has to play his 4th land. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just not enough cards, not enough time.
He's got a Simian Spirit Guide.
Yes.
Oh, this is
There is
so
a Grizzlebrand
rough.
already in his graveyard. So all he actually needs is the Goryo's Vengeance.
Oh, okay, Randy. Yeah, I didn't see the Grizzlebrand there. So, yeah, I guess just looking for Vengeance.
Wow. Okay. So it all comes down to this for Kentaro.
Three Pro Tour top 8s already for Kentaro Yamamoto. Trying to get number 4.
He did not hit, and that's going to do it. JC Tao wins the match 2-1. That Thought Not Seer off the top was the game for him, and it won him the match right there.
Still undefeated in Constructed is JC Tao. That's 9-0, and looks like it's going to be 9-0-1 into the top 8. Trying to win 3 more.
And just as a reminder, Kentaro Yamamoto, so he picks up loss number 4 there.
Yeah.
He's going to play the next round. If he wins, is he in contention,
depends.
or is he on that same bubble that everybody
We might have a
else is?
clean cut. Depending on how the off-camera matches go, there might actually be a clean cut.
All right, well, these gentlemen here are hoping to not be in that fray themselves, as we've got Pascal Maynard and Frank Laporte both at 11-3 themselves and looking to not drop to that 4th loss here.
Yeah, Frank. Sounds like this match had both a deck check and a short judge call.
So a little bit of a extension there.
I think there's like a 12-minute extension, which means they're only in game 2 right now. And we saw Pascal win game 1, right?
That's correct. Pascal won game 1 with his affinity list here.
Wow, third consecutive winning in for Frank Lepore.
There's a cranial
Pascal
plating.
looked really excited about that cranial plating.
Yeah, you know, I noticed that.
What are the life totals?
Actually not really.
They're getting them up right now. It's 20-1.
Yeah, but which way? Frank knocked Pascal to 1?
Yeah, I mean, look at
Yeah, I
Frank's
assume
board
so.
state here. He's attacked with 9 last time.
But there are...
Yeah, Maynard's at 1. Wow, Frank Lepore got...
Well, the question is, can Pascal poison him out
Right.
here?
Can he deal 20 or 10 poison?
The math is being done. It is definitely in
Yeah, I
play
mean,
here.
the plating will be the 7th artifact. If he can cast it, equip it, activate both Inkmoth Nexuses, and attack.
He's doing the math right now. Plating. Activate, equip. Does this not work?
It's not.
I think it's 1 short.
Yeah.
Oh no, it looks like he might be 1 short.
This is in play. I said I played this. This is activated.
So, can he...
Steel Overseer makes it 3 +1/+1 counters, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
It's a 4. Cranial plating, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So that's 7,
That's
8,
9.
9.
Yeah, if he could
He
activate...
needs to just get a Blink Moth online.
Yeah, if he could just activate one of the other ones.
Yeah,
but
it's
he's out of
tricky.
mana.
Yeah, I mean, he could use the Steel Overseer to activate the Springleaf Drum, but that's the same as just
Right.
tapping the Steel Overseer.
Yeah, he's 1 mana short. If he had 1 more mana, he could activate a Nexus to be
Okay, so
the artifact he needs.
I've been counting. Can you clarify where I'm at exactly? What has been done or not? So I clearly played this using this. Huh?
Help me.
Yeah.
Tell me what
Guess
you
I was
do,
basically
and
just
I will
counting.
help you.
Okay, I was basically just counting, but I clearly played this by tapping 2 mana, so I think that's a given. And then
And I remember you confirmed it earlier. Earlier you said this is
yes,
like
yes. And now I was basically just like playing with the plating as
Well, you
if-
had to pay 1 to activate this guy, so.
yeah. So I was just like playing around. So can you confirm it's not equipped yet? So I can
It's not
activate
equipped,
my-
but you have to tap 1 more to activate,
no,
I think,
it's
right?
not equipped.
Okay.
The ink moth is tapped to activate.
Yep. So
Yeah,
Frank's right. The Inkmoth Nexus has also been activated, so the other one was tapped to activate it. So that's
Well, what
that's
does
just
it
where
mean
we're
to
at
activate
in the
it?
board state.
Huh?
You didn't pay for this to activate it yet.
I did not. You,
But you, I mean, you,
Oh, you're
we
right.
Did, yeah, we did activating and playing cranial were the only 2 things that happened this time.
yeah, I played this, and
This is tough for Maynard. He is just
Yeah.
1 short here. It was so close. Now the question is, can he survive? And it looks like he cannot, right? The Reality Smasher Trample.
Okay, so he's
Close
going to pay
enough?
for the...
it's not activated.
Well, did we not? We paid this to activate this. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this guy should be tapped.
This was that.
There was a moment when you said
Actually,
this on the battlefield and this one animated this one.
Are you sure? Because I was actually just playing around with this land the whole time. I moved this here, but I didn't pay for it. I'm pretty sure.
You paid, well, you made several movements.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's only got Twitch chat lethal, not actual lethal. So maybe everyone at home can help him find it. I'm not sure.
Chat lethal.
In this one to animate this one.
Sounds fair. Well then.
Okay, so the Inkmoth is active.
Yeah, I don't even think there's a different way to do this. I mean, Pascal's trying to figure out how much he committed to because he thought he had a plan. He started to implement it, and then he realized that it's not quite going to work. And could he back up? Could he figure out a way to make it work? I don't think there was a way to make this work anyway, even if he could have done things differently.
So tough being at 1 life here. All right, so Pascal's going to pack it in. You know, he needed to explore all of his options because he was so close to winning.
Yeah.
that whole game was,
1 away.
was pretty ridiculous.
But ultimately,
I counted for.
it is
Raptor.
Frank Lepore who takes that game
Yeah,
down
which is
and
one- the
ties
one
things up.
cheaper.
That means
Yeah.
we get a game 3. And I
Yeah.
think it's going to be
Yeah,
a
it's
real
because you had to tap
slugfest
Steel
here.
Overseer for the
Yep.
extra mana.
Not
I
a ton of
still-
interaction
probably
going
still
on,
won't win.
and
I mean,
both
give
of
me
these
the
decks
one,
are looking to get the
guy.
other
Or
guy
give me
dead
zero
as quick
to
as
the
possible.
second
So.
guy.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, with a deck like Affinity, in all seriousness, whenever you
like
find
the block.
yourself one-off lethal
So I
in
guess I
whatever
could play,
whatever
like,
play path, you always feel
probably
like,
way
oh,
where
there's
I
something I
block
could have
this
done. I mean, we didn't see earlier on in the game how things branched out exactly, but I know whenever I lose a game with Affinity that's that close, I'm like, oh man, if only I'd done this on turn 2 or taken this other
Yeah,
line.
for sure.
You know what could make a total mess of next round's pairings?
What's that, Randy?
An unintentional draw here.
Oh, yeah. You were mentioning that we have the possibility for a clean cut,
Yep.
but an unintentional draw here would.
I know they
Kinda
have a
be
12-minute
weird, right?
extension, but I am curious to know how much. Okay, sounds like they still have 22 minutes, so not a realistic possibility at this point, but. It would make a mess of things.
Of course, you'll remember Pascal Maynard for his intense race last year or last season
Mm-hmm.
for the GP slot, the GP point slot at the World Championship against Alexander Hayne. Ultimately, Alex did pull ahead, but man, Pascal gave
was
him a run.
True. That's a fun race, too.
Really fun to watch that as it unfolded. Of course, Pascal and Alex are friends as well.
We'll be giving out a world spot this weekend.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. So
Mid-season
tell us about the
master.
mid-season master.
Whoever has the most pro points this season so far, not counting the Worlds points that carried over, but just Pro Tours and Grand Prix this season, gets guaranteed spot at Worlds. Coming into the event, Fabrizio and Terry was in first. Owen Turtenwald was in second. Owen Turtenwald, by the way, he's playing a win-in off camera this round. He's still live for this top 8. Is your number
I
one
think he
ranked
got
player in the world.
matched against Jason Chung.
Yes, indeed. That is the match. I gotta feel like Owen's a favorite for midseason master at this point. Like, even if he loses from here, he's going to be getting a chunk of pro points. And I mean, Fabrizio is on day 2,
I'm sorry.
so he's still live. I don't know. It may also depend who wins the pro tour tomorrow. We'll do all the math overnight and figure out whether it depends on tomorrow's results. But certainly by the end of tomorrow, we will have a midseason master. No, I guess we'll know 2 more people are going to Worlds. The Pro Tour champs.
Yeah, I was
going
going to
as
say,
well.
I don't want to put you on the spot here with the tiebreaker stuff, Randy, but, you know, the Pro Tour winner also gets their seat locked up.
Right.
That also could very well put them in that number 1 pro point seat.
Only
as well.
if somebody who has a decent chunk of points wins the Pro Tour.
Okay. If Owen or one of these people that's out in front.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if Owen wins it, he'll actually just have both of them.
Okay.
Looking at these names, though, like even Luis Scott Vargas doesn't have that many pro points this year. Like he doesn't have enough pro points to win midseason master, even if he won the Pro Tour. So we'll see. Shuhei doesn't have a ton of points so far this year. I don't think Flock has enough for that. It's going to be interesting.
All right, this is another big game down the stretch here. Again, both of these players are at 11-3 and looking to win this one, draw in next round. And I want to remind you as well that this is Frank Lepore's first Pro
Round
Tour,
15.
and he has found himself in the feature match area a lot today. Playing under the hot lights, playing under the scrutiny of the crowd, if you will. He's looking to lock up a top 8 here. This is not Pascal's first Pro Tour, though. He is a grizzled veteran at this point of the Pro Tour, or professional Magic scene, I should say. Okay, we're underway. Typically fast start here with a pair of Mem Knights, a Mox Opal, and a Darksteel Citadel for Pascal. But wait, there's more. Wow, his hand is just dumped onto the table here. So that's 6 of his 7 cards just spewed onto the table thanks to those 2 Vault Scourges.
And look at that last remaining card in his hand there, Marshall.
What was it?
I think it's a cranial plating. Yeah,
It is.
I was just about to say, yeah, he put out a lot of permanents that turn, but he only has 4 power. But yeah, never mind.
16.
This could be a quick one, kiddos. Pascal Maynard is going to be crunching in for probably a 3-turn clock after that attack, or including that attack. So that was 4 damage. Frank's at 16, and he could be dead in 2 turns here. Equip. Attack with everything. No. Spatial Contortion is going to break up that turn worth of damage, at least somewhat, but he did still take 4. Frank is way up against it here.
And as we've talked about before with Frank's deck, it is mostly permanents. He did have a spatial contortion there, but beyond that, there aren't that many more cards that can break up a cranial plating at instant speed. Of course, we don't know exactly how he sideboard or necessarily what's in his sideboard.
Interesting too. Corrupted Crossroads
Mm-hmm.
is what Frank's going to use to cast his Wasteland Strangler, which is going to take down the Vault Scourge that was equipped. And he is fighting the fight here, is Frank Lepore. But he's going to get hit here. Oh, before he goes to attacks. All right, there you go, Pascal. Wants to maximize damage here. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 9 damage, 8 damage. Wow, this is a big hit, and this could be it. Frank's down to 3. Pascal's also built up a nice life total bump thanks to the lifelink on Vault Scourge. Can Frank come up with a way to kill that Vault Scourge? Because if not, it's going to kill him. And that's going to do it. Pascal Maynard wins and puts himself into the last round with an X-3 record and looking like he's in the top 8.
Yeah, all he needs is a pairing that lets him shake hands next round. Pairing that, and I keep saying that everyone at X3 is going to shake hands last round. You do also have some teammates who might want to block for their other teammates. Being on the play is pretty good.
It seems really good, by the way. We've seen a lot of Affinity and Eldrazi decks that really can capitalize on being on the play by just dumping their hand out on the battlefield. I mean,
yeah, definitely true.
We saw that one right there from Pascal, and he's just like, here's 6 permanents, go, right? And, you know, when you're on the play, I mean, that certainly is helpful. Just your opponent just never has a chance to get stable.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is shaping up to be a heck of a top 8. Let's get some updates from out on the floor from Richard Hagan.
Thanks very much, Marshall, and to the team in the booth, bringing you all the action from the penultimate round here. This is so simple, and yet so complicated. There are going to be 8 players on 36 points or better coming into the last round. If they all get paired against each other, if they all decide to shake hands, that'll be the top 8. There are some teammates. There are some teammates of teammates on 11 and 4, trying to get in if the door sneaks open at 12 and 4. It is by no means certain that 4 handshakes will happen in about 20 minutes' time, or maybe even less. We're past time on the round now. So don't you dare go anywhere. Out on the floor is Brian David Marshall, so let's hear from him right now.
All right, these guys are a little distracted. They're trying to get Pascal Menard to come over here. Andrew Brown, got JC Tao. Here comes Pascal Menard. East-West Bowl. Come on over here. These guys are all X-3. They're all... An incredible showing for this team here. Guys, tell me about your preparation for this event.
We just talked a lot online. We had a really great limited meeting right before the end, and it all really just came together right now.
JC, you still haven't lost in Modern yet. You're 9-0 with the red-blue Eldrazi deck.
Yes, somehow. I mean, I'm not playing perfectly, but the deck carried me.
So it has a little room for you. Pascal, come in here. Talk to me. Tell me about that match. What was going on there? Look up at the camera. Let everyone see your happy face.
So basically, we had a lot of judge calls. First one about some sort of extra drawings, extra looking, and then the second one was just like, I blocked in a fashion that if I drew Ravager, I had exactly a poison lethal. I drew Plating, and I thought it was like the same, but it's actually 1 more mana, so it didn't work out. It was only 9. And then because I like put everything on the board at the same time, I was trying to figure out like what was actually done and what not. And because I already played a Plating, I couldn't block to survive. I would still probably lost to like any card, and then probably lost late the game after, but the turn after. So basically, I lost that game, and then after I drew Mox Opal, and I won because Mox Opal is great.
Nice.
So you guys are hoping for draws next round?
Yeah, if we all draw, I think we're all locked for top 8.
That's the plan.
So this presents some challenges for you guys. This is something new. A lot of pro players are familiar with this. Maybe you're not as familiar. You have to think about rebooking flights.
I do have to rebook my flight now. I booked the No Faith flight, but from now on, I'm not going to book the No Faith flight because I have faith in myself now.
How about you, JC? Do you have a faith flight or a no faith flight?
I also was scheduled to fly out tomorrow morning, so now I have to look into that.
All right, this is a big question. Pascal, what did you book?
I had Fate in the last 15 Pro Tours. I still had Fate, so I have a flight on Monday.
All right, there you have it. Team East-West Bowl in a great mood going into the last round here from the floor at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yeah, sport's pretty amazing, especially when you win. I'm not sure all three of them are going to be happy in an hour's time. We can't be sure yet. Pairing standings coming our way, coming their way, but it is starting to look like with Shuhei Nakamura and Even Flock and Luis Scott Vargas, and in particular Shuhei Nakamura and Even Flock on 37 points right now, as I take a look at standings just being delivered to me now. They are both certain to be in. Nakamura and Flock cannot get knocked out of this tournament. But anyone they play in the last round absolutely can. So depending on the pairings, there is every possibility that Shuhei Nakamura or Even Flock will play in order to try to get someone on 36 points in. And the somebody that they're hoping would be someone like Paula Vida Dama de Rosa or potentially Paul Cheon, who are both on 33 and about to play. It's possible that Paolo and Paul Cheon would go against each other in this last round. Plenty on 11 and 4. So a ton still to play for. The 36 pointers will be desperate to tie it all up. We'll see whether they can in just a few minutes. But we have time to squeeze in one more deck tech before the final round. And waiting for us patiently is one of the superstars of the modern game. Waiting for us, Brian David Marshall, and with him, our special guest, Jacob Wilson.